This is Mike Breakey. This is Black Swan Climate Theory, the June edition, part 2 of 6, where we address, or initially begin addressing some of the comments by NOAA's Derek Arndt, who states here Maine was one of the states that saw the biggest differences in temperature. This is probably why blogs focused in on it. Well, we'll address that in some of his other statements very soon. On May 6, 2015, 4 days after I published my Black Swan Climate Theory, as we said earlier, Derek Arndt responded to claims of there being possible fudging of Maine and United States climate temperature history. He states actions NOAA took in 2011 and in 2014 vastly improved the quality of the historic climate data. NOAA's Arndt states Maine, as we said earlier, was one of the states that saw the biggest differences. I focused on Maine because its second largest community, Lewiston, Auburn, LA, had accurate, continuous, unfiltered climate records going back to 1893, as seen in the chart to the right. And I might mention, this is related to heating degree days. I'm going to just keep apples to apples comparing NOAA's heating degree days to Maine's heating degree days, as defined in part 4 of the earlier section from April. So for what we see here on Maine's weather, uh, it indicates there were 3 major temperature downswings over the last 119 years, including the present. These are what I call black swans. And in the earlier sections of part 1 of the April presentation, I talked about how these are heavily influenced by the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This allowed us to compare raw climate data directly to what has been quote unquote enhanced by NOAA through several computer algorithms over recent years, and years specifically that NOAA cited as 2011 and 2014. We don't know how many algorithms they did between 1998 and 2011, but 2011 captures the effect of all those earlier ones. Based on their enhanced analysis, we can see to the right here how the temperatures have dropped dramatically, almost a total of 300 degrees if we look at the overall, in fact, of all the algorithms over the last 18 years, or what would work out to be about 10% reduction. In my opinion, it appears NOAA has created and repeatedly updated an algorithm to automatically transform present climate declines, as we see here, into global warming trends upward. Well, so the bottom line is, if I hit one more, what we've done here now is through the algorithm, we've now got global warming continuously upwards that pretty much buries all black swans. Now you might ask the question, where might NOAA officials have gotten the inspiration for an algorithm that egregiously manipulates present and past climate data to produce global warming in the present, which again, in my opinion, is what I am seeing from the research. Well, this isn't the first time something like this occurred. Here's a chart of how the world understood temperatures when the Vikings went to Iceland and Greenland and populated it before it went into global cooling. We've had our ups and downs over time. Here's what I call black swan events. But then in 1997, 1998, a gentleman by the name, a professor by the name of Michael Mann, came up with an algorithm based on tree rings that essentially rewrote the history of the past to where very little climate change and suddenly we have a spike at the end. That's why the Michael Mann's algorithm is called the IPP hockey stick, where at the end we have the peak, which is similar to what we're seeing with NOAA's present data. Something else unusual happened. The weather site that was cited on a lot of my research on May 6th, the day of NOAA's reply, Maine's Auburn Lewiston weather site was suddenly taken down for mechanical repairs. We don't know what the repairs are, but as you can see, as of after May 5th, all data ceased at that site. I've called the NOAA representative up from Gray a couple times. She's very pleasant and helpful, but she's indicated she does not know when NOAA will have this, the site, again, that serves the second largest community in Maine, operational. It's almost in a way of, think if I was a suspicious person, I would say they're trying to eliminate the possibility of black swans in the future. We do know it has one repercussion right now. In this amazing coincidence that we've cited earlier, uh, the weathermen on television stations now are at a loss why there is no information for the second largest community in the state of Maine, as seen in the images here. Here is Channel 6, where they're reporting weather on Mother's Day, and we see all these temperatures, but Lewiston has no information. Here is ABC a few days later, again showing temperatures in the state, and again a blank for Lewiston, Auburn. Here's how temperatures used to be reported oftentimes, but now with Lewiston with question marks, rather than have that appearing all the time, essentially they've replaced it temporarily with Berlin, New Hampshire. So that concludes this section. We'll get into more specifics later. The one I'm looking forward now in part three is where Mr. Arndt says in the old data set, the year 1913 was particularly problematic, resulting from a key and transcription error many years ago, and now that's been corrected. 1913 is often held as evidence of tampering, when in fact it is probably one of the biggest improvements in the data set and brings our value much more in line with what was observed at the time. Very interesting because this was one of the key things I had cited, that the biggest change I saw, a 4 degree swing, occurred in 1913, and they're addressing that. We'll get into the specifics in the next section. Thank you for listening.